Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about why your ex comes back after you distance. So we see this happen all the time, but the last thing you want to do is create any space or distance from your ex when you're going through a breakup. Everything inside of you says reconnect with them, and it's so hard to let them go. But we're going to talk about why that happens and why giving somebody distance is actually going to help your chances of reattracting them. Now, for years, you've probably heard the old saying that distance or absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Especially if you're in a long-distance relationship.
Right?
You know this to be true.
Why is that? Well, because too much closeness isn't always a good thing. And missing somebody and that space and the anxiety we feel, it's actually like a powerful connection inside of us that makes us want to fill that space and get close to that person again. So if you're going through a breakup, it's incredibly confusing. It's overwhelming. Your brain is just obsessively and relentlessly trying to figure out how to repair that ruptured connection, how to get them back, how to fill the space, how to get closeness again, because you're scared you're going to lose them. Connection is one of the most powerful things I think we experience as human beings.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Love, connection, attachment. And so when you think about distance, emotional distance, physical distance, it hurts to let that connection separate, to let it rupture. And it's scary.
Yeah. It's like being a little child and losing your parent at the store. You always make that analogy. And, you know, I had a client not too long ago talking about when they were a kid, their parent would be gone just for the grocery store, running some errands, and she would wait by the window and look through the blindfolds to see if her parents have come home. It's a similar feeling of longing for somebody, curious if they're okay, wondering when they're going to come back. It's that same almost primal feeling that you experience.
It is primal. I think it's hardwired into us to stay connected with our loved ones, with the people that we want to be close to, the people that keep us safe. And so that's why it's so terrifying to stop reaching out. Everything inside of you is reconnect, call them, text them, show up at their house, drive past their house, see where they're at, check their location, stalk them online. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're like, yep, check, 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 check. Go down the list.
Yeah.
You're checking all the boxes.
Our bodies are so used to that routine of talking to this person probably daily. Maybe some of you lived with your partner. So your bodies and your minds become accustomed to them. It's like your body understands that this is a safe person, somebody that's in your orbit, that's in your tribe, that you can trust.
Yeah, and you want to stay close to them because it feels like when you're not close to them, your life is at risk. And so distance and the idea of it is literally probably the last thing you want to do because you're afraid that you'll never hear from them again, they'll never come back. Maybe something could happen to them, something could happen to you. And I think this all happens on a really unconscious, deep level, right? So it's tough to do. It's one of the most challenging things to do. But you have to understand that while all human beings want closeness and desire it, we don't all desire the same amount of closeness. And that goes for distance as well. So everybody that you date is likely going to want a different amount of closeness and a different amount of space. And it's very hard to understand that every single person is unique based on how much love and affection and attention they were given as small children. That's going to play out in their romantic relationships. So maybe you have an anxious attachment style and you love closeness. You're always trying to be close to your partner. Well, you're probably dating somebody that doesn't want as much closeness as you do. Maybe they have an avoidant attachment style. And so they only want a little bit of closeness or short amounts at a time. Well, when you're trying to force your closeness on them, it makes them feel engulfed, overwhelmed, smothered, trapped, and they hate that feeling.
Yeah,
Right?
it's the complete opposite of what you're experiencing. And you're right, it can be hard to understand because you're thinking, why doesn't this person want to be close with me? We can take it personally a lot of times.
I was just going to say, and the anxious person
Yeah.
takes it very personally when it's not personal for the other person.
Right. And what ends up happening is these intense feelings of, okay, my partner is not wanting the same amount of closeness as me, or that primal fear, that primal panic that we were talking about earlier, it can cause us to force the closeness, to force the intimacy. And I like to imagine it almost like one of those Chinese finger traps where the more you push, the more stuck you become. And so that's how it feels like for the avoidant partner. It feels like the more close you get, the more entrenched you are. And it can be a very scary thing. The more you try to force things, the more you're stuck in it. The more you force it, the more they will try to pull away. So on the most basic level, when we talk about creating that distance or respecting your partner's need for space, we're talking here about respecting their ability to make decisions and to make choices. We're saying, okay, this is what you want. This is what you think you need at this moment. Who am I to say yes or no to that? You know, your partner also has a right to say that they don't want to be in a relationship, and there's no way to force that.
That's right, because forcing it only makes them want to run faster and further.
Yeah.
So what do? Well, we suggest going no contact. Now, we're not telling you to ignore somebody's bid to connect with you or ignoring your ex when they're reaching out. We're simply saying stop reaching out. You stop trying to force the closeness. Let them reach out when they want to connect with you. We want them to want to connect with you, but we don't want you to force it when they're not ready for it or not wanting it. Because while you're sitting in this state of anxiety and panic, and you're pushing to make those bids, going past their house, etc., it just makes them feel trapped. Like you can't handle yourself, they can't trust you to handle your emotions, and it scares them.
And we are constantly communicating messages to our partner, whether we know it or not, through our body language and through our behavior. And so even though no contact seems like, okay, I'm doing nothing, it is sending your ex a message, and it's sending them the message of, I have the emotional self-control needed to get through this. And that is really powerful. It's saying that, okay, I respect your choices, I respect your decision, and I can take it.
And handle myself.
Yeah, it shows a level of confidence in your own ability to self-soothe, which is really the point where we're trying to get you to be. And it's completely normal to depend on your partner when you're in a relationship. And throughout this relationship, you've learned, okay, this is my comfort person. This is somebody that I go to when I am feeling distressed. But during the time of the breakup, they have decided that that agreement is over. So unfortunately, they will not be able to soothe you through the breakup most of the time. A lot of the times, they are completely emotionally depleted as well.
It's
so they
like
don't have that.
It's like, have you ever seen a parent that's tired and exhausted, and the child is just pushing them, and you know the parent is trying to be patient and give the kid what they need, but the kid keeps pushing, pulling on them. They want attention. They can't give the parent any space. Eventually, any parent is just going to get tired and like kind of snap. And they'll be like, okay, this is enough. I can't, it's too much. And so you're going to do the same things to your romantic partner, because it's like the child uses the parent to soothe their anxiety as a secure base. And it's like you're using your ex to try and be your secure base when they're saying they don't want to be your secure base in that moment.
Right. And the difference is, it's the expectation that the parent is to love the child unconditionally. That is not the case for adults in romantic relationships. They do not have to be with you. And I know it's tough to hear that, and it is easy to take that personally. Is it because of one of my shortcomings? Okay, we start to take things personal, and we don't know what else is going on in our ex's lives. So take everything into consideration.
That's right. If you keep reaching out to them. It's showing your ex that you're not okay without them. You're not strong. You're not centered. You don't respect yourself. You don't value yourself enough to take no for an answer, that you can't handle things, etc., etc. Now, part of what will happen there is they'll get angry. They may lash out. They may threaten you. They may threaten to get legal action against you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they feel bad about things, right? And sometimes you guys will try to make your ex feel bad. You'll try and make them feel guilty. You'll send them those screenshots of when they promised to love you forever.
I've definitely been there.
Yeah, I remember you doing that.
So bad.
But when you do that, it doesn't make them think, oh, it's true, I did say that. I should honor that. They're like, oh, why would you send this to me? I'm not feeling that way right now. Right? And it just feels uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So don't try to make your ex feel guilty about breaking up with you. Okay? They're not going to like it. It's not going to create attraction. It's not going to do anything that's going to make them feel like they want to come back to you.
Yeah. And guilt is not very conducive to desire, to this vitality, this excitement that comes from relationships. Unless you have some sort of guilt kink, which in that case, go for it, I guess.
There might be something we haven't heard of.
Maybe, probably.
The guilt kink community.
Trademark.
It's a bunch of Italian and Jewish mothers.
They love that stuff.
Where were you on Sunday for dinner?
I miss my son. It is like that.
I'm Italian, so I know.
I'm also Italian, so I also know. But it's true. Guilt is not one of those sexy feelings for most people. And also, if you're not respecting their decision and saying, well, you said that you would love me forever. I see this a lot in first relationships, when you're first kind of discovering that feelings can change and feeling it out, seeing what relationships are like. A lot of times you can hold your partner to promises they made. Mm-hmm. You are telling that person that they don't have the right to change their mind.
Or just because they said something in the past, they have to stick to that forever.
Yeah.
Well, they made that decision at 24 years old. Are they really ready for a lifetime commitment?
Right.
I mean, I don't think so. Mm. And people have the right to change their mind.
That's true. If they didn't, I would be a mechanic right now.
At your father's garage? While your mom is yelling at you, you never help your father enough. He's killing himself out there.
With the sauce spoon. That's how it would be.
You come in, she whacks you. I've been there.
But the point being is that people do have a right to change their mind. And so giving them that space and that distance allows them time to process their feelings about the breakup. And just like they've changed their mind that they don't want this relationship any longer, with time their perspective will change on that as well. Right now they're probably angry. Right now they probably have a host of different feelings that will change through time if you allow them that.
That's right. Because when you have time to reflect on things, to think about things, to calm down about things that are upset you, it allows you perspective. Like, okay, he did these things that drove me crazy, but he did all these things that made me feel cared about. And you can weigh all those things. Mm-hmm. But when you're not emotionally charged and upset and you have time to have perspective, it allows for that to happen. It also allows them time to wonder about you. Where are you at? What are you doing? What is life going to be like without you? Because you could change your mind during no contact. You could say, forget it, I'm moving on. I don't want to be with this person anymore because of their faults. And that allows them to experience that. The power of attachment is so incredible that, you've heard us say it. Somebody came back after 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
And they were saying, I thought about you all the time. It was their passwords and everything else. And that happens more often than you think. Now, obviously, 50 years is extreme, but many years people will come back. Because when we feel this powerful bond with somebody, you don't forget them. You don't not think about them. You don't just completely move on. Now, that doesn't mean all of you are going to hear from your ex or get them back. But the power of attachment is incredible. and you can feel it. So when you allow distance and you allow space, they can feel it. You can feel it. It's like if you have two magnets in your hand, right? And you have two magnets and you pull them apart. You can feel it in your hands. You can literally feel that pressure being pulled away from each other, that intensity. And so by not reaching out to them, it's like the magnets being pulled apart slowly. And at some point, they're going to really realize that it's impacting them and make them think about things.
Exactly. And what we're not saying is to put your life on hold endlessly. But what we are saying is that time can be very helpful in a breakup, can have your ex reevaluate things, and can also give you time to change the things that will be more conducive to a healthy relationship. It also gives you time to change and to reflect back on the relationship if there were things that you didn't like how you behaved, that you didn't like how you reacted towards certain things. You know, mental health and personal growth is a huge field. There's lots of resources out there for you to better your relationship skills, to better your attachment style, to become more secure, and also to learn how to self-soothe. You know, if you are a person who's a little bit more impatient at times, especially when it comes to relationships, that is something that can be worked on.
Absolutely.
So if you're noticing it being very challenging, you know, continue to watch our videos. We have tons of content on healing breakups, also attachment styles, becoming secure. Those are also our less watched videos.
Unfortunately, it's true.
So, you know, there's a great opportunity with no contact for you to take this time to really invest in yourself.
And the knowledge workbooks, the creative healing course is all centered around these attachment issues, learning skills, learning to become more confident, because the bottom line is, if your ex doesn't come back, at some point you will find somebody else that you're attracted to. And if you don't work through those attachment issues, they're going to come up with this new person and you're going to do things that hurt the connection again. You want to minimize those mistakes and you want to be able to display the more confident, secure behavior. The more you do that, the more attractive you're going to be to anybody. Your ex, new people, within yourself, you'll feel better in so many different areas of your life. So allow them the space and the distance. Let them miss you. Work on yourself in that time. And when they come back, and they often do, you'll be ready.
Yeah, you want to be able to set yourself up for success, to set yourself up for a healthy relationship. And that's what we want to see for all of you. And we think it would be much worse for you to not use this time to work on yourself and get your ex back as quickly as possible and then make all of these mistakes again and end up in a second breakup. We don't want that for you. You know, we want you to really take this time to work on those things that are going to reap benefits for years on end and for generations on end.
Believe me, your ex will pick up on those things getting in front of you again. They'll see the changes. You don't have to tell them. They will see it. They will feel it. And that will naturally spark the attraction again. All right, so hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If you want to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.